Hi, I'm Michael Marin, President and CEO of Holy Name Medical Center. At Holy Name, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the healthcare issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support important healthcare programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this edition of Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been provided by Holy Name Medical Center. This place is different. New Jersey Resources. International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825. The New Jersey Economic Development Authority. NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. Turn a dream into a degree. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. And by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Your future is in our building. Promotional support provided by ROINJ, informing and connecting businesses in New Jersey. And by Insider NJ.
Welcome to Think Tank. I'm Steve Adubato. We're in fact coming to you from the Agnes Ferris NJTV studio here in Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. The future of the Republican Party. Everything you wanted and needed to know about the Republican Party you can find out right now. Four distinguished guests. First, Jeanette Hoffman, a Republican strategist and president of Marathon Public Affairs. State Senator Michael Doherty, representing New Jersey's 23rd Legislative District, the first state legislator to endorse candidate Trump before he became the president, obviously. Bill Spadea, host of Morning Drive on New Jersey 101.5 and Chasing News on My 9 and Fox 5. And also, finally, Florio, Republican strategist and founder of Princeton Public Affairs Group. I want to thank all of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Steve. Great to be here.
The Republican Party. Listen, we did check out a past think tank show we did on the future of the Democratic Party. I don't know if it's really one party. Is the Republican Party this big tent, Dale, that comes together and all the Republicans are in one party? Are you in one party?
Are we talking about New Jersey or are we talking about the nation?
Is there a different answer to that?
Yeah, there is.
Go ahead and make the case.
There is. Well, listen, I think in New Jersey we're a little bit smaller right now than we'd like to be. But just watching what's going on across the other side of the aisle, the prospects are very good in New Jersey for Republicans.
Let me get this straight. So you look at the Democrats and that's how you judge how you're doing?
What it tells me is, what it tells me is the move to the left is going to get...
On the Democratic side.
On the Democratic side is going to get those folks that are sitting in the middle looking to see, what party do I want to align myself with? And they're going to shift back to us. They've done it.
Yeah. No, I think Democrats are totally overplaying their hand here in New Jersey. I think Phil Murphy came in to being governor thinking he had this mandate that New Jersey is such a liberal state. And he is really taking on...
Are we?
No. We're purple, Steve. If you look at our history, right, we had Christy Whitman, two-term Republican
Moderate.
governor. Moderate. We had Jim McGreevey, only one term. John Corzine, only one term. When was the last two-term Democratic governor? Who's been elected twice as a Democrat? Brendan Byrne, right? But
that's 1970s.
Right. Christy Whitman's been reelected twice. Chris Christie's been reelected twice. And so you see this pendulum going from Democrat to Republican, Democrat to Republican. So we're kind of purple here. We don't like to be too extreme. And I think Phil Murphy is way too extreme for New Jersey. And he's not tackling the real issues that New Jerseyans care about, and that is affordability.
Does that help the Republican Party?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I think both are correct on certain aspects. The Democrats are way far to the left of the average working class, middle class Democrats. Phil Murphy's got an agenda. The Attorney General has an agenda with immigration, et cetera, way out of touch. That said, are people really going to turn to the Republicans? The Republicans have two problems. Number one, still branded with Chris Christie.
And the problem with that is what?
Not very popular. Chris Christie, not a very popular governor, not popular. Bridgegate hurt him. The idea that he came in saying we're going to solve the problem on pensions, didn't solve it, said we're going to lower taxes, didn't do it.
Not with a lot Democrats, of progress. By the way, not when you look at the unfunded with Democrats and Republicans.
You could call it that in 2011, but I think if you ask the average teacher out there, they're not going to say that the result, here we are 8 years later, They're not doing any better than they were before that. And we still have more than $100 billion in debt. The big issue is Republicans aren't on the same page. You've got Republicans split in the Senate on the budget. You've got Republicans in the Assembly that are split. For the first time, I saw the Assembly Republicans come together, all 24 vote against this budget. That was the first sign of unity. The state budget. First sign of unity in years.
Is there a difference, excuse me for interrupting you, the Republican Party? Senator, do you believe there's a significant difference between the Republican Party in the state of New Jersey and the Republican Party in the nation?
I think nationwide, the Republican Party is a little bit more conservative. I think here in New Jersey, it's more of a northeastern establishment Republican Party.
You okay with that?
Well, I'm sort of a duck out of water, as you know.
What does that mean?
I tend to be more...
By the way, so therefore, check out the senator's interview with us on State of Affairs. Go on our website and you'll find out the answer. Go ahead. You really do feel to the right, more conservative than most of the Republicans in the state legislature.
Well, I think that I happen to be correct on a lot of those issues. I think
I love the way you frame that.
I think school funding is a huge issue that a lot of conservative legislators are very upset how we send all of our money away. We don't get a lot back.
I think you mean to urban areas that are represented by Democrats. I think that's what you're saying.
Well, towns like Hoboken and Jersey City that are actually doing quite well, that are still getting billions of dollars from the taxpayers. The Republicans in New Jersey, we need to, as Bill said, we need to stick together on a message. The greatest success that I saw for the Republican Party since I've been in the legislature is when we opposed John Corzine when he wanted to sell the toll road. So all the Republicans were together on a huge issue.
Right.
And we should have been together on the gas tax. I think we really fumbled.
Maybe against it.
We should have been together to come up with a solution. Maybe I could have seen a tax increase, but we could have done things like prevailing wage clawbacks, instead of giving away the store on those issues.
Let's try this. Go ahead, Dale.
I was just going to say...
Because I want to nationalize this conversation as quickly as possible. Go ahead.
And that's fine. Listen, I think most Republicans and people that lean our way that aren't registered Republicans believe in fiscal responsibility, okay, and less government. Those are the two main principles, I think, of the Republican Party that differentiate us from the Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
How the particulars of how we deal with some of those policies maybe is where we argue. But those are the two things that really make us different than Democrats. And I don't think there's any division on that in New Jersey.
So let's try this. The leader of the Republican Party, why don't we set up the Bramnick clip? The leader of the Republican Party in the state assembly, you don't have to look at me like that, Bill, it's coming up. So John Bramnick's been with us many times. Again, check out our website to see those interviews. But this was a recent conversation we had with John Bramnick, who's the leader of the Republicans in the lower house in the assembly. He's a statewide figure. He's been known for a long time. We had a conversation about President Trump and whether it's the Republican Party or the Trump Republican Party. And this is what John Bramnick had to say. You don't like Donald Trump, do you?
Let me tell you, what I don't
He's the leader of your party.
Well, no.
Yes, he is.
No, wait a minute. I became a Republican in this state because people like Tom Kane Sr., people like George Bush won. I'm going to tell you, now we're going to get away from policy for a minute. So there's some, but personality-wise, you have to respect other people. And in my judgment, you have to have empathy for other people. And my concern is that I don't see the empathy that I want as a Republican leader. And I'm going to say it, and I don't care the consequences of that. That's different than policy. Policy, meeting with North Korea or trying to build relationships with the Soviet Union makes some sense. But treat people with respect, show some civility. And my concern is that's not good for the party.
So therefore, let's talk about this. The question is, you listen to John Bramnick, a respected member of the Republican Party. Doesn't mean everyone agrees with him. But he argues that much of the problem in the Republican Party is the tone and tenor, the demeanor, and the way the president conducts himself, less about policy and more about the way he handles himself. You love the way Trump handles himself.
I love it.
You praise it.
I do.
Okay. How is it bringing the country together, much less the Republican Party?
First of all, the idea is that he is. It's. You want to bring the country together on the right ideas that are going to help the country move forward. You're never going to get 100% consensus.
Clearly.
So when we look at this, the idea of unity is a fine idea if you're unified on the right ideas. And if you look at what we have going on in North Korea, if you look at the tax cuts and the 8 out of 10 Americans that benefit
That's
from
not
that,
what Bramnick was talking talking about?
Bramnick was talking about tone.
And what about it?
He's got every right to have that opinion.
But you love it, the president's tone. My question is, how does that bring people together?
The harsh tone. Well, you're saying that's the goal. I don't know that that's the goal. The goal
is not to bring.
No, why is the goal to bring people together? The goal is to
get things done.
The goal is to get things done for the average working and middle class family. I mean, who do you want to bring together? How are you going to bring together the people who are saying government should just be giving me more, and with the people who are saying, hey,
John Bramnick's a Republican. He's not. Hold on. He's not Ocasio-Cortez. He's not Nancy Pelosi.
He's speaking about tone. Tone is irrelevant, and tone is only relevant from a Trump side in that he is actually relating to people who are out there working on the construction projects, working in the homes, and
so calling people names and mocking their appearance. Let me just say this: there are a lot of folks out there who question whether we would want our own children, much less those of us who are out there in public, speaking that way.
Do you mean the way Barack Obama mocked Christians and gun owners?
So Barack Obama's tone and tenor, in your opinion, was divisive in this country?
Behind the scenes, it was. Sure.
Okay. So tone, a specific quote from Bill Spadea. Tone and tenor, not relevant. I didn't say it, you did. Go ahead.
So I will just say, back to John's comments, I think John Bramnick's comments, I think it reflects what the majority of New Jerseyans feel about Trump, because let's take away his national standing and the 2020 re-election, because I do think Trump will be elected in 2020, but I don't think he's going to get re-elected in New Jersey. His poll numbers are in the 30s in New Jersey, and I think a lot of that is because of the divisive rhetoric. We just don't like it here in a moderate state like New Jersey.
Are we that much different than the rest of the nation?
That being said, yes, we are. We are a moderate Republican, Democrat state. We're a purplish state.
We're talking about tone.
But tone-wise, I think this president, love him or hate him, is revolutionizing the way we communicate in politics, right? Reagan was a great communicator. President Trump is the great tweeter, okay? He has taken out the middleman of the media. He is communicating directly to the people.
Effectively?
Effectively, whether you like it or not. I personally don't like it. I think it's too divisive. But also, let me call it the left. They are also very divisive. And whether they're taking a page out of his playbook or not, this is what we've become in 2019.
A lot of divisiveness on both sides.
He is the first social media president that we've had. And I would actually move away from the issue of tone. I think it's more just his style. Right?
Well, what's the difference?
Well, I'll just go to the polling. And the polling is consistent in New Jersey about people not liking his style of leadership, the way he talks to people.
But isn't that tone?
But you break it down.
Okay, I don't want to get into semantics. Go ahead.
You break it down into issues. And he's got a lot of support, certainly among Republicans and more Democrats in New Jersey.
On tax policy, yes.
On immigration,
he does?
Absolutely.
Yeah. On immigration policy, the
immigration issue is so misrepresented in the media.
So it's fake news again?
No, I'm talking about the daily tabloids and all of that.
You didn't mean public broadcasting.
Not this show and a few others. Not this show and a few others.
It's also not static. It's moving, and the more that the Attorney General moves to the left on immigration, absolutely. I think the average person looks at what Graywall is doing and
You're
like,
talking about the New Jersey Attorney General.
Absolutely.
Okay. Finish your comment. I'll come to the Senate, and we're going to break. Go ahead.
I'm good.
You're good. We've had this conversation before, and I've always said to you, Senator, I don't really care. A lot of people disagree with your point of view. You disagree with theirs, but you've always been, respectfully, a class act. You handle yourself with respect. You deal with other people with respect. You're not a name caller. You're civil, and you disagree. How Bill Spadea says tone tenor. Steve, come on, stop. You're making too much of that. Bramnick makes too much of it. You say?
No candidate is perfect, but the issues Donald Trump talked about in 2016, he was perhaps the only Republican that could have been elected president. After the financial crisis of 2008, nobody went to jail. Wall Street got bailed out. People are sick and tired of these Mideast wars. He was the only candidate talking about that.
Trade issues.
Having all of our intellectual property get ripped off by China, that's a problem, that you have to make things. So for me, the issues are always much bigger, and that's why he
bigger than style?
Look, he had, to some extent, he's a New York guy. He had to act like that. He's always been like that. He's being authentic. That's the way he is. Yeah. And we accepted him with the warts because of these bigger issues. At the end of the day, issues matter, and that's why he was elected.
Let's do this, because John Bramnick argues that he's not comfortable being in a party led by Donald Trump. He's likely in the minority in that point of view, because all the polls I see is that the vast 90% plus are Republicans that support the president nationally. Let's go to the break. I promise Think Tank will come back to this very spirited, but as always, civil conversation. I'll be right back.
To watch more Think Tank with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
I love this show. Great conversation, always candid. I just said this during the break. The Republican Party and the national media, and we in the media overall. Do you think we lean to the left overall?
Absolutely, the polls show that time and again.
The polls show that people think that.
Well, when they interview and poll folks that are actually in the media, they tend to be overwhelmingly on the left side.
Okay. You're in the media.
I think there's a laziness in the media, and I see it with a lot of the stories that come out, that it's easier to tell half the story because it's about selling emotion and pulling heartstrings. It's much easier to say, look at this poor person who's a victim, and the media has become
largely the media.
The discussion. Yeah, I think I would say most of, because look, the media is a profit business for the most part.
Sure.
And you've got an easier time getting somebody's attention at home in this crazy world where there's so much competition, social media, YouTube, all the entertainment. People are saying, hey, how do I grab those eyeballs? Let me pull some heartstrings. Way easier to say, look at this victim.
Do you think it's easier to be anti-Trump, anti-Republican Party for most in the media?
That seems to be where they default to, because I think the media has decided that they're the victim. And now the media is saying, we're the victims, so let's go after Trump.
Do you see Fox News as the unofficial Republican network in the nation?
Not at all.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
Jump in. Media and the Republican Party / Donald Trump, if you can separate them.
Well, yeah, I feel like there always has.
By the way, I should make it clear that you're on his show a lot, and no one tells you what to say.
We don't always agree, though.
No,
well, I can say,
it's funny because, Bill and I sometimes go on the show and we do have differing points of view. And it's, interesting. And
always
sometimes,
civil?
Always civil.
That's what we do here in public broadcasting.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, and I do think that the media is definitely transforming. And President Trump has been, I think, the first president to actually call, rightfully so in many cases, call out the media for not reporting the facts. And I think he's as...
But excuse me. By calling the media the enemy of the people. No.
Well, again...
He says, we are the enemy of the people. We are involved in fake news. That is helpful to the Republican Party and the nation?
That's, again, I don't like the tone. Sometimes it goes too far. But I do think in some cases he has been right for calling them out. Again, the tone sometimes goes too far, case by case. The tone sometimes goes too far. And also, we go back to how brilliant this 70-year-old man is on social media.
70 plus.
70 plus. He communicates like a millennial, and he cuts out the media. And I think that's going to transform the media
you're a public
for generations
policy person.
to come.
Sorry for interrupting. The Twitter stuff good with you?
Yeah.
Even on national, international policy, tweeting about policy,
Absolutely.
tweeting about someone who hasn't been fired yet in the White House, and they find out
I'd like to think I'm aware enough to kind of wait and check things out on my own. But absolutely, I'd rather hear directly from the person as opposed to having it filtered through 4 or 5 other people. And just back on the media, the media are people too, right? So if you're constantly being attacked, there's no way you can't have a little bit of an edge toward that person who's attacking you. But I also think the media sees a feeding frenzy with Trump because of some of the things he says and his style. Much like the media has, I think, looked at Governor Murphy, right? They see a little bit of a feeding frenzy there, especially with the incentive issues, and kind of him still getting his sea legs in terms of his administration. So the media can pivot and be objective.
Has Donald Trump transformed the way some who are involved in public life will be communicating to the masses moving forward?
I think he's really ripped off this cover and said, that right now, you talk about tone and people are cordial and formal, but
what's wrong with that?
Well, because a lot of people that are suffering out there, that are out of work, that are worried about crime in their community, they're saying, I want a fighter. I want someone to go out there and tell me how to fix this problem. And I don't care if you've got to, push through somebody to do it, say some harsh things. The reality is that being out of work and worrying about your public safety and walking your kids to school, that gets parents and people angry, and the president is reflecting that anger.
And so when you call people who come from countries in Africa, coming from an S-hole culture, how does it help?
Culture, he said country.
When you say that people are coming to our country from S-hole countries, and they don't bring anything to our society, tell me how it gets those people jobs. who are, as you just said, struggling, rightfully so. You're right, they are.
Remember, he's talking about, you got a huge, when he was saying that, he was saying, look, you've got a crisis of these countries where there's crime and there's violence and there's no jobs and no food, et cetera. So they're coming here, and the Democrats want to just open the door and let them come here. And
Does
what
it
Trump
make it
is saying
easier
is,
for the
hold on a
Republican
minute.
Party, excuse me, does it make it easier for the Republican Party to be the wider, bigger tent and have minorities involved when you have comments like that, Senator?
We all have our style, but Donald Trump is touching on an issue. Look, we had the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, both in Washington, D.C., open borders. And I think the American people would like to see the immigration laws enforced. And Donald Trump is speaking to that issue. Now, some may do it slightly differently, but I think
But it's denigrating those who want to come here, whether legally or illegally.
It makes it hard.
Make the case. I'll come back to you, Bill.
It just makes it hard because you have people that just look at a quick Twitter feed or something on Facebook, and he said this, and that's all they take away from the issue. It makes it hard to attract minorities and other folks.
As a Republican Party, because this program is not simply about Trump, but about the Republican Party.
Correct.
Is the conversation about Trump the conversation about the Republican Party? Is it one and the same?
Well, it has to be right now because he's the head of the party by default. He's the Republican president. And when he makes comments like that, it doesn't help New Jersey Republicans. Look at the midterm elections. We lost seats. We only have one Republican member of Congress right now. And I get it, that happens in midterm elections. But if you look at the people, the Democrats that were elected in these seats, these freshman Democrats, they could easily be Republicans.
Many of them are women. Does it make it,
Mikey Sherrill could be a Republican.
By the way, check out our interview with Mikey Sherrill, one of our opening shows.
This is a clear repudiation of Trump and that divisive rhetoric.
Let me ask you this, as a woman, a leader in this party, someone who's very out there in the media, you think it's disproportionately harder for you and other women in the Republican Party to be part of this party with Donald Trump as its leader?
I struggle with it sometimes, but you have to understand, he's the president now. He won't always be the president.
His comments about
I like
women,
some of the things
his comments about their appearance, his comments in response to a woman who recently accused him of sexual assault. We have no idea what happened. One second, when he said, "She's not my type,"
I don't like it. I do not like it. I've said that. I don't
that's just
like
not style.
some of the rhetoric. I don't like the attitude towards women.
Do any of the men have a problem with that?
Historically low unemployment. Blacks, Hispanics,
Bill,
women.
you think you can just divert? And when you talk about women in that way,
about results.
and you describe them,
It's all about results.
you saying the President of the United States has no responsibility, whether it's Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, or Donald Trump, to be a role model for all young men and women about the way we talk to each other and describe people physically? You think that's irrelevant?
This is why Trump has mobilized so many millions that agree with him that the problem is the media. The media wants to have a conversation about tone and rhetoric, whereas people who are living their lives in their communities are saying, you know what, I need a job, I want safety, I want to make sure that immigration is taken care of, I want opportunity.
Bill, you would never speak that way about women. You know you wouldn't.
I don't speak that way. I don't have Trump style. That isn't my style. I run look, I do my radio show, TV show with cordial interaction with people.
But why don't you realize that it's divisive in the Republican Party and in the nation?
But people are different. You can't put any one person in a mold. And I'll tell you this, at the time, the way things had devolved under Obama, whether it's healthcare, immigration, et cetera, the country wanted and needed a fighter.
And that's why we needed a president to say that woman's not my type, which is why I wouldn't have sexually assaulted her. It's because of Obama. Couple minutes left. I'm going to get you back in, Senator.
Where were the women organizations when Bill Clinton was having his party in the White House?
Silent.
Okay.
And
we're all
many people thought it was hypocritical, 100%.
To some degree, except that the party isn't just one person. Yes, he's the head of the party. It is just not one party. He's the head of the party. But it takes people like Senator Doherty and people like us to talk about.
But can you be a Republican, an active, engaged, loyal Republican, with President Trump as the leader of the party?
And
you're comfortable doing it.
I was a Republican before President Trump, and I'll be a Republican after President Trump. I don't like some of the things he says, but I do like some of his policies. And I'm not changing because of him, because of some of the rhetoric.
I think the media tends to overlook a lot of outrageous things that are said by Democrats. I can think of outrageous things that Hillary Clinton said during the campaign that were were totally overlooked. I look at Joe Biden and some of his treatment. I mean, the YouTube videos are out there. Joe Biden, how he gets a little too huggy with women and wait a second, and young girls. None of us acts like that. That is totally off limits. And the media looks at these videos.
You think that's proportional with President Trump?
I think Joe Biden. I think the way Joe Biden handles himself around women and nuzzles them and kisses their neck.
You wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't do it.
Absolutely outrageous. And where's the outrage from the media on that? They just have the blinders on.
They laugh at it.
Final comment.
The real issue here is that Trump is more than the leader of the party. Culturally, he has changed the party. The party is changing. If you look at some of his issues, let's just talk about tariffs for a minute.
A few seconds left.
That's a Democratic issue. You are now seeing manufacturing jobs come back. Blue-collar Democrats are coming back to the Republican Party because of Donald Trump. The party has changed forever. There's no longer room for the elites. It's now time for the middle and working class. The Democrats lost their opportunity. Trump speaks for real to real people.
I promise you this. This will not be the last conversation on Think Tank with thoughtful, opinionated, strong-minded, but always civil and respectful Republicans who have strong views that are worth sharing. And I want to thank you for joining us on Think Tank. Okay? I'm Steve Adubato. Let's continue the conversation. So let's make sure that you tell us what topics you think we should be covering moving forward. So check me out on Twitter, @Steve Adubato. Most importantly, this show is called Think Tank. We talk about it. Make sure you think for yourself. We'll see you next time.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been provided by Holy Name Medical Center, New Jersey Resources, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJ Best, Choose New Jersey, and by Keystone Mountain Lakes Regional Council of Carpenters. Promotional support provided by ROI-NJ and by Insider NJ. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Looking to expand or relocate your business? I'm Jose Lozano, President and CEO of Choose New Jersey, and I believe our state is worth your investment. New Jersey provides tech and life science companies the support it needs and the ecosystem to mature. Here you will find top talent, lab and incubator space, venture capital, and the world's best fiber optic network. Locate your business in New Jersey, one of the most connected and diverse states. Visit choosenj.com. Our legacy of innovation continues with you.